tonight. We'll get things started off. Just some general housekeeping for now. Just please keep yourselves on mute and try and not be on mute when you're presenting, like myself. And if you have any questions throughout the night, just pop them into the chat. Fleur will keep an eye out on those and sort of share them for answering at the appropriate time. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming along. We know everyone's busy, but tonight's just an opportunity to kind of give you an introduction to our new tournament controller pathway that Tyler's been working busy on the last couple of years, which is a really cool resource for anyone who's sort of new to running club tournaments. And obviously MySquash Competitions forms a part of what you need to run a tournament, but there's also a lot of other things that go on as well that you need to be aware of. So she'll sort of show you what we've put together there as well. I'll go through a little bit of an update on MySquash Competitions in terms of the developments, what's coming up for release shortly, some things that we're working on. Obviously, as with any new platform release, there's a few bugs and issues that we've got to sort of work through pretty quickly, as well as sort of some priority development. I will do a bit of a walkthrough. So what we're going to...
That the courts aren't available. Or one of the Sundays that potentially that room might be open on a Sunday morning that we could use it for play.
Going to focus on just sort of showing you the different areas around MySquash Competitions and just walk through running a club tournament. So this is more of a session just to show you guys how to use it. If you've got questions around, can it do this? Can we add this in? This is not really the time. We will get feedback at some stage, but this is really just to help you guys get stuck in and run your tournaments with what's there at the moment. And then I'll just go through what we've got in terms of training and resources so far to help you out after the session. So, as mentioned, to kick things started, I'll hand over to Tyler, who, yes, the session is going to be recorded, so we'll send that out. Right, Tyler, can you give us all a bit of an intro into the tournament controller pathway?
Yes. All right, so hopefully can you guys all see my screen? Cool. So tournament controller pathway, like John mentioned, has been in the making for a fair few years now. And finally we have it live. So
you haven't got the present view, Tyler, sorry. It's got the presentation view of the...
Okay. It's not very helpful, is it? There we go. So yeah, tournament control pathway, what is it? So basically it is a pathway designed to kind of help tournament controllers. So all things to do with the tournament, from preparing the tournament to running the tournament to wrapping up the tournament. And it covers from club tournaments, district tournaments, national tournaments, and even some international tournaments. And it's designed for the volunteers to basically the step-by-step guide on how to run this tournament. So quite often our volunteers and clubs kind of get cycled through quite regularly, and we've got new people running tournaments, and often it can be quite a stressful prospect having to run a tournament, your club tournament, if you've never run one before. So basically it's for those kind of club members that have been thrown into the deep end to run a club tournament, or those that are have run plenty of club tournaments and kind of want to develop, learn some more skills, and go into the kind of progress to district, national level events. So the club level course is live, and so that is a step-by-step guide on how to run a tournament, a club level tournament. It's full of tips, tricks, helpful resources, downloadable templates, and lots of other good stuff. And this course, the first course, is split into 3 parts, so covering the pre-event, the running of the tournament, and then the last part is a bit of like a self-test scenario questions on some scenarios you might get at your local events. This is just like a quick topics that it kind of the first course covers. So important tournament information, promoting your event, court schedule, managing entries, getting club ready, volunteers, budgets, communications, draws, entry fees, running the tournament, promoting the event, prize giving, all those kind of fun things that make up an event. So to access this, so going through Squash Smart, at the top here you'll see the club management, coaching, refereeing, and then you've got tournament control. And so here you'll see the 3 different parts. So at the moment, the only part that's live is the club level. The district and the national level will be coming soon. And basically, you'll just need to log in and set up a MySquash Smart login, and then that will take you to your kind of program where you can access all the club stuff, the referee stuff, but also most importantly the tournament control stuff. So this is just a bit of an insight into what it looks like. And so it's got this really good resource here that's downloadable, and it covers a whole lot of it's more of like a template to get you started. So it's got a lot of all the contact information, who's doing what, and their contact information, contact details. Task list that covers quite a lot of the kind of general tasks that that go into running a tournament. So who's going to do it, when's it going to be done by, what they need to do. Court schedule, match and ball calculator, social media plan, volunteers schedule, event budget, going through some entries, match schedules, prize money calculator, so you can work out how much it's going to cost. So this is a really good resource that gets mentioned throughout. So it's a good place to start. And then you just basically, it's an interactive course that takes you through a bunch of different information, things to be thinking about. So this one you can see, so we start with the event sponsorship. It gives you some cool information, and then throughout the course there's all these really helpful resource sheets, and these go in a little bit more detail into the topic. So that is, and then you've got it's got some kind of interactive questions that you need to complete to move through to the next section, some other external resources, and just a whole bunch of really helpful information, and a step-by-step guide that you can kind of work through to get to, you can work through alongside running your first kind of tournament. So the first part is all about the pre-event, second part's all about running the actual tournament, and then the third part is some scenario-based questions. So it gives you some examples of what you might face during a tournament as a tournament controller, and then it will get you to respond to how you would manage those certain different scenarios, and then it gives you the considerations and some example answers. So that's kind of a quick introduction into what it is, what it looks like, and then back to this one. Cool. And then just lastly, so some of the benefits of the tournament controller pathway is it's a really good starting place for volunteers new to running these events. It's valuable templates and resources. It will hopefully save volunteers and clubs lots of time. It will improve the quality of the events for players, reduce the stress in volunteers running the event, and it's also a really good development opportunity for those wanting to run district and national and international level events. The vision is that one day we will have every single event that's been run, whether it's a district event, a club event, or a national event, run by a suitably qualified tournament controller. So that improves the inconsistency around the events, and then so that's the tournament controller pathway. Any questions, concerns about that one? Otherwise, I'll pass it back to you, John.
Well, thanks, Tyler. If anyone's got any questions or just general comments, they can chuck them in the chat and we'll respond to those. But I said, really great resource if you're getting dropped in the deep end, haven't run a club tournament before. Yeah, there's lots of things to consider that you sort of may not have thought of. So that's kind of got it all off with lots of templates and other resources that you can link to. So thanks, Tyler. I'll just get my screen ready. So next up, I'll go through just a bit of an update on where we're at with MySquash Competitions before we dive into a bit of a demo. So this is sort of recapping what was shared 2 weeks ago to the club change leaders. And a lot of this content is for club change leaders, but noting we'll dive into the competitions, which is where some of you may just be involved in running your tournaments, and that's why you're here. So now we're all live. And as we've communicated, players now need to have an active MySquash player subscription to be able to enter tournaments. So their ability to be able to do this will depend on whether your club has set up their bundling with the membership types, and that's been fed through into MySquash. If we're getting players, there may be some instances where players are getting duplicate accounts and stuff. We're sorting through those at the moment, but if players have any queries, then that's the first thing to look at, is to make sure they have a club membership in your account. In your club, it's a current membership, and that will have a little player subscription, what type they've got next to the membership in the Hello Club account. Club admin access in MySquash Competitions. If you're not sure if you have it, then your district will be able to let you know who in your club has it and can edit these, so they can add players or members to it and remove them as well if they don't need to be on there. As I mentioned, there's still a lot of features to be developed, and we are fixing a lot of bugs. We are having to prioritize them at the moment. So yeah, we've got a lot coming through. So if you do find some bugs, things that aren't working as they should, please send them through. And we are developing extra features too on top of those. And they'll be sort of released regularly as they come along. So very much in that sort of bug fixing initial launch stage, and then new features coming shortly. Just an update on the grading list. So if you want to add new players to the grading list at the moment, just email our support email address, support@squashnz.co.nz. It does require, obviously, players to have an active player subscription to be able to do that. And we are going to have these new players appearing on the grading list. So anyone that's a competitive or a lifestyle or a junior subscriber will be on the grading list. Players that are lifestyle will just have an LS grade and can't enter competitive tournaments, but they will still be on the grading list, so you can see where they rank amongst your other club members if you're having club competitions. It makes for easy comparison. And graded players and juniors will obviously have the standard A to J grades in theirs. This will all be automated in a week or so, but for now, if you need players added, just email us. If you need to transfer a player, if players move to your club, but they're on someone else's grading list at the moment, there is a form in competitions, which I'll show you after, but that is live now. That goes through your district admin, who updates their primary club in MySquash, which means that they will therefore appear when you filter by your club on the grading list. Squash level speed, we haven't got this up and running just yet, but we're a day or two away from being live. We've done all the development work at our end, and now we're just waiting for Squash levels to make sure they can connect everything up properly, which means that all the matches going to competitions will start getting fed into Squash levels, having the levels calculated and going back into MySquash so players can see their new level and their match history. There's been a lot of work around their new weightings for this as well. So as we've shared with clubs, we're now offering sort of club matches and social matches to go into MySquash competitions. So all these different types of matches have got different weightings. So for example, open tournaments are all 100% weighted matches. Same as last year, interclub is 75%. If you're running a club competition, so you want to run an internal club league or a business house or a ladder, etc., they'll be 50%, or just casual club matches between two players who want to have a game, they can be recorded and they'll be at 25%. So a whole bunch of different variables that we've had to build into that, but they will all get calculated at the right weighting. Then they go through to Squash levels. The club referee exam. So this has now changed. This is only available in Squash Smart. we have updated the link on the Squash New Zealand website, so you can go to referees, club referee exam. You'll see some updated info on how to go about it, and there'll be a link that takes you to the Squash Smart sign-in page, which will be the same place that you'll go to complete the tournament controller pathway. If you haven't used it before, you just need to create a login, and then you'll be able to choose your course, and you'll see refereeing, you'll see tournament controlling, you'll see coaching, club management. All our learning resources are in there, and you can pick out the refereeing one and complete the club referee exam. That will get updated in MySquash as well, with some new qualifications fields that we've done. So lots still going on in the background, but as I said, we're doing updates almost daily at the moment just to get those bugs fixed, and with some new things coming out too. So in development, so there are some key features that we still need to get out sort of over the next week. Obviously, if you've got a tournament coming up, then draw diagrams are one of those. A few clubs have asked about those. So they will be available shortly. Plus, we're going to add a bunch of new formats too, on top of what was already in there from the old iSquash. We do need some work around the search filters. At the moment, I think they can show everything, or you just search by your club. That will be extended to filter down by any district and any club as well. If you're a club trying to register interclub teams, that needs to be added in, but districts will just advise you to email them your teams in the meantime if you've got entries closing off shortly. Collecting payments for tournament entry fees. So this was a feature in iSquash. It will be again in MySquash Competitions. So this will be released shortly too. So this is where you may want to make sure that players pay for their entry fee before they can register for a tournament. Key thing there is make sure you're set up with a Stripe account, as this is what it uses, and then once we get that in, then we'll be ready to go. We need to add some new permissions levels for players. So this is allowing our lifestyle players, or any player, but we really want to open it up to players to record any matches in there, get their level, which is obviously the big thing with the lifestyle players who historically haven't been involved in competitions and don't know what level they are, but just allowing a wider range of matches to go into MySquash. And of course, we've got ladders and box leagues coming too. Ladders is available now. I won't spend much time on that today. I'll do a quick overview. We'll do a separate sort of webinar on those casual features at another point, but that's out now, and also we'll have box leagues available shortly too. So lots happening, and I'll sort of go through sort of competitions and how it is now. So cool. So this is our test site. So this is MySquash Competitions. I've logged in as a club admin. So this is what you'll be able to see. Just a comment about Stripe. So yes, it is just Stripe at the moment. So there's no opportunity for Poly. So just credit card payments once it's available. So this is the homepage once you come in here. Hopefully everyone's familiar with how you get into here. There, you go into MySquash, see a competitions button, click on that. You'll see a little tile, says MySquash Competitions. Click on that, and then it comes through into this here, where players will land if they are a competitive, lifestyle, or junior player is this individual competitions page. And I'll kind of quickly run through what each of these sections are and what they do. So competition actions, kind of as it sounds, it's for players and things that they may need to do in a competition. So what I'm able to do, competitions, as I said, it's just the test site, is we can see a list of the events that are coming up, and what we can do is enter those tournaments. We'll be able to filter through once it's available. So I can search by my district, and that would be my club there. What might be actually useful is we just go into proper one as well. I can show you, compare. See all the tournaments. So we can see a list of all the tournaments. We will be able to see all the different districts. And if we want to choose a district, then we can filter by club as well. So we can enter in tournaments, just click on it. We'll have all the details there. We can see if there is any players registered already and who they are by clicking on that list, and they will appear in that tournament there. So if we go into this one, I can see we've got a whole bunch of players registered for the Devoid tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. So simple enough, click on register and away we go. Team competitions. So this is for, if you're in an in-club team, this will show up in here. If I go out and log in as a competitive login, what I'll see is these are all the competitions where I'm registered as a player in one of those teams. So if I want to go into this competition here, I'm going to be able to see the draws, and these are the matches that my team are scheduled to play. What I can do is, once we've played the game, we can enter the match results in here, click on the button, go into edit, and we can go through, put all our scores in, choose the right match status, and save all those, much like the old iSquash. We can also pick up live scoring as well. So we have some scoring links here. One is a URL which you can copy and paste if you've got a laptop or a tablet, or you might just want to use your phone. You could display the QR code. If another member of your team wants to scan it with their phone, then they'll be able to start live scoring, and these will feed through into match results. I won't go into the live scoring today, but that is a feature that's available, which saves you having to enter them in afterwards, but you can also save you having to have pen and paper there. So that will record all the interclub things in here. So as I said, it's actions. So this is entering results or picking up the live scoring. If I go back, ladders is also the other one. So if there's ladders that are going, players are entered as part of a ladder, they'll be able to come in here, see the ladders that they're a part of. Nothing set up in that one. And they'll have the competition to be a ladder here and any challenges that are currently outstanding. So I won't spend too much time on that today. We'll go back into competitions. Apologies for jumping around a bit, but just trying to show you the different things that people are able to see. Current competition. So this is where people can just come in and view. So these are our digital subscribers. So those that aren't involved in playing, but may want to come and view the draws, or if you want to come and view the draws, so anyone can see those. So we can see a list. There's just a couple of test tournaments that are set up here. We can go in, we can see the draws, and we'll have the match results here. When there's results, they'll show up in there too. Team competitions. So this is where the draws can be seen as well for the full competition, along with see some draws. We can also see the teams that have been put together and a list of all the players, and we'll be able to see the ladder once all the matches have started to come through. Ladder is just basically a full list of all the ladders that are available. You can filter by them if you want to sort of find one for your club, or one that's someone's asked you they might want to join in. As a club admin, you're going to be able to see individual competitions and team competitions. Now, you can't do anything as a club admin in team competitions yet, but this is where you'll go in and enter your teams. Individual competitions is where we're going to focus today. So this is where you run your club tournaments. So to create a tournament, I'm going to go in and I'm going to add competition. So let's give it a name like we need to do. It's going to be a tournament. It's a club level, so it's going to be sort of open. We do have social, so if you're just running a social competition at your club, you can choose that as well. Now, leisure, the host is the host venue for that, and we also have leisure here. So this is going to be used for players that just want to create they might want to do a round robin amongst themselves, just at their club. They'll just select leisure event for those. Club admins will have the opportunity to choose a club there, which will be your club. And the clubs that are being involved, this helps pull together the draws and the courts that are available. So you choose your club through there as well. Go through, add in the rest of the details like we need to do. So we want to start advertising it. We're going to close registrations tomorrow. The tournament will start next Friday and it's going to finish on Saturday. We'll set a default game length for the courts for 30 minutes. We know most of our games are just going to be 30 minutes. We can change that later on. It's going to be $10 to enter. Men and women can enter, and it's going to be an open tournament. So let's tick all those boxes. And this just helps with the filtering when people are looking through those. Any terms and conditions we want to put in for the tournament there. So pay before first match. And this will here doesn't quite work at the moment, but this is whether it will show up under the team competitions. So we know the idea behind that is that if you're doing the draws and that sort of stuff, you don't want to put them up until you've finished them. So you can untick that box. And then once you're ready to release them for people to view, then you can tick that box. Right, we'll save that. And this takes us into our competition dashboard. Now, that will be available under competition, individual competitions, for people to come in and enter that tournament. So tournament's all set up. We're advertising the tournament. And we're going to start getting a whole bunch of players entering. So let's just add a bunch of players. Don't know why. I just like adding a whole bunch of Steves because it's the easiest to type very quickly. Right, we'll add our players in. Cool. So we've got a bunch of players in our tournament now. Like usual, we can seed the tournament, and that pulls through the latest levels for those players. And we can download a registrations report. So if we want to see how many players we've got, try and figure out what divisions we're going to create, we can download that into an Excel spreadsheet, do some sorting and figure out what our divisions are going to look like. Once we've done that, we need to go in and create our draws. So what we've got now is our player allocation tool. So let's go and add a draw first. So I'm going to add my men's Div 1. I'm going to do a 4-person round robin. So we're going to be men's. Now I can choose some scoring rules as well. So you can set this up or you can change it afterwards, but this is for the live scoring feature. So general rule of thumb, if there's more B1s and A graders in a draw than B2s, then they play to 11. If there's B2s and below, then play to 15. But you can change that afterwards, but that just sets the rules for that draw for live scoring. We'll save that. Now I can go into player allocation, and I'll have my draw here that I've just created. If I've got other draws, they will be listed here as well. Now I can just go through and I can click the players that I want to go into that draw, and I can save that. And now I've got 4 out of the 4 spots sorted out from that player. I can also just click on the top one, click on populate, and it's going to pick the next 4 players down there and automatically select them, and then you can put them in there. So handy if you're doing like 16 draws and stuff. But if you're just doing smaller draws, it's easy just to go through and click them. So now we'll see our 4 players that we've got in our draw listed in here. We go to matches. We've got a list of the matches. Being a round robin, it already knows who's going to be playing who for that time, and it's just going to give us a default starting time for all these so far. Next thing that we want to be able to do is we want to set up our court times so that we can allocate matches to them. Now, here we want to, it should be 30 minutes. We'll set these to 30 minutes so we can see this is Friday. We've got 3 squash courts, first one at 5 o'clock, last one at 11 o'clock, and we're going to have them for 30 minutes. Maybe on Saturday, I want to do 35 minutes. So we'll select 35 minutes. If I even want to add a different time for the afternoon, so I can say that until midday it's going to be 35 minutes, but then we've got some big matches in the afternoon that are going to take longer, make them 40 minutes. We can do that as well. So once we've set all these up, we'll click on Generate Calendar to pull those through. Now I can see I've got 33 time slots that I've made available for Friday and 48 for Saturday. And I can compare that to the number of matches here. So this draw is 4 players. We know that in a 4-person round robin that there's 6 matches. So you can make sure that you've got enough court times available for the number of matches that you're going to be having. Now we can allocate times to our matches. So I've got a list here of the matches for men's 1, and on the right I've got the grids of the court times that are available based on what I've just set up. Pretty simple to allocate matches to a time. I just click on the match and click on the time that I want it to, and it's going to plug them in. So these guys are going to play here. They're going to play on Saturday morning, and they'll have another round later in the day. And that's all my matches now scheduled for that draw. I'll be able to click on the arrow and see my other draws, and I can go through, do the exact same thing. I can see when I've got court times that are available. And if I go back into the matches, I can see all the times that I've allocated them are now coming through onto here. They should also come through into here. So this is what players are seeing. So they can see what time their matches are and who they're playing just by going to current competitions. Right. So got all the setup done. All the draws are done. Once again, if you need to change time, just click on the match. We'll just give it a different time. They're going to play later. And shift things around to court times you've got available. Cool. I might go through a couple of the questions quickly. What have we got? Blur. And then I'll go into entering match scores and everything.
John, can you show where the box is so that the draws aren't showing? Anika's asked about that.
Sorry, what's the...
Anika said, what's the reason behind having the entries visible and open to everyone for tournaments? This seems like it could have an adverse effect on entries, especially for smaller clubs that people hold out on entering until they see who else has entered.
Yeah, so I think we will make it optional at some point, but it is something that was requested. People like to know who's entered before they enter as well. So yeah, there's sort of two sides to that one. People don't enter because they don't know who's entering and the fear of not getting good matches. But also, yeah, people may hold out. But once it's up there and people know that it's there, then hopefully that will sort of generate more interest for people to just get their names in there. So others will join in.
Okay. When will the feature to filter by districts outside your home district be added?
Yep, so you can see everything now. So you should still be able to see in individual competitions all the tournaments that you can enter. The filter for viewing them should be, we've got it a pretty high priority. So hopefully next week at some stage.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's nothing under team competitions yet. So as I touched on before, just the districts will communicate with you to just email them the teams. We're hoping it'll be ready next week at some stage, but yeah, it's not critical because there is still a way for teams to get entered. Yeah.
Okay. Could you run a fun tournament with club members and non-club members, e.g. farmers, or do they all need to be leisure members?
Yeah, players need to have a player subscription to be entered into competitions. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, done, Terry. Can you change the players once you set the draws, i.e. move the seeding or change out a player?
Yep, so there is a drop-down list as well. So as we showed, if we go into competitions, if I want to go into the draws, I just go into players and let's just say, let's just not select those. Let's just switch them around. Might just put them back in the same order. Yep, then we can save that and then it's switched around.
Okay. How do you delete a tournament you created in error?
Don't create one in error at the moment. No. At this stage, they just have to stay there. Just change the dates so that it's not visible to anyone and it's not open for registrations.
Okay. Yeah. And are you able to have a mixed draw?
Yep. So as I said, when I add draw, I just change the gender to mixed. Yep.
Cool. Will it give you warnings if the games are clashing or too close together if scheduling in competitions?
No, that's up to you. But hopefully by being able to see the whole draw and where the matches are going, you'll be able to test that, and you can just go in and check when you're looking at the matches page as well. So no, it doesn't give you any errors because if you've got like a doubles tournament, then it gets complicated because players play back to back, and it could be a social competition where they want to play back to back. So yeah, we haven't made any sort of hard rules around what you can do there.
All right. Kate said, do you need to click and drag the games over, or can you get it to allocate it automatically?
No. So it's just simple click and click. So it's not drag and drop because that gets complicated when you're trying to use a mobile device and things. So it's just basically just click on the match and then click on the time slot you want it to go to.
Okay. And someone has said, yes, but I'm in Wellington and want to see central tourneys.
Yep.
At the moment, she can only filter by all or Wellington.
Yep. So we're fixing that one. Yep.
Fixing. Cool. When allocating the games in the calendar, can we have a function that when arrowing through the draws to select games that it keeps rotating through rather than having to go backwards and forwards as there is an end and start? Makes sense?
Not really, but that's probably an offline conversation. So we're just trying to show you to understand how it does work now. If you've got any things about this would be useful, then just send us an email and we'll look at those at a later date.
Okay, and can you get duplicate entries? Will there
So
be a warning?
yes, there is no warning, and yes, you can at the moment. And the reason behind that is that you do find players, and we've probably got a good example at the moment with Joelle King is playing a lot of tournaments around the place, and she's entering in both men's and women's draws. So there is the ability to add a player in twice and to put them in both a men's draw and a women's draw without you having to fluff around and use manual results entry and things to put that player in. So it is there. Maybe once again, maybe when you're going through the registrations, just sort them by name and just check there's no duplicates or anything in there at the moment. So
Okay, and
yes,
will there
you
be a
can.
format for doubles?
Yes, that'll be coming out in a few months' time. So it is on the development roadmap, as is sort of having sort of a separate racquetball section as well.
Okay, and there's a bug which we can look at.
Okay, cool. Thanks. We'll make a note of that and take a look. Yeah, way to do around it is just unallocate the matches before you delete it if you're going to. Yeah. Cool. So results. So if we go back into the competition, so again, we've got live scoring features here. So I will quickly show you now that we're in here. And again, there's a couple of ways you can do it. So there is a URL that we can copy. I can see that it says scoring URL copied up there. I can paste that. So if we've got tablets, then you might want to send it to an email address that you can access from the tablet and pick that up and put it in there. And what that will do will bring up this screen here. You can also pick up there's a QR code. So let's say you've got a tournament, you might want to take a copy of the QR code, put it on some posters. You can put them around the club, put them on the markers chair. So players, if they want to use their phone, they can just come up and scan it and mark their game on there. So to find a match, so we know the division. Obviously, if we've got other divisions, they'll be listed here as well. We go through, find the match that we want to be scoring, and we're going to do Dave and Eddie. So we can see who the players are. We can just pick what color clothing they're wearing if we don't know who the players are, so we can make it a bit easier for ourselves. And we've got a bit of a warm-up timer, so we can set that start of the game. And when we're ready to go, we just start going through. You can use the let and stroke thing if you want to record that. So if someone makes a call, you can record what you decided and it'll bring that through. And we can go through, complete the game. So if we clicked on something by mistake, we can just go cancel and it's going to take us back. But we'll just go through. It should undo a point. Yep, so back to what it should be. And we'll finish that game. There's a timer for the, it says warm up. That's the thing that we're fixing as well. But that's the break in between games. We'll carry on. Complete game. All right, Dave's going to win this one easily, thankfully for us. All right, complete the game. So game's completed okay. And now we can choose the match status. So someone defaulted, so someone pulled out, then obviously we need to put the game scores in to up to the end of the game. So if they pulled out at the end of the second game, the third game will be 15 love, and then you can put A or B defaulted. Played is the standard one, which most of the matches will be. Fair play. Now, we talked about this one in the last webinar. So this is the new option that's available based around feedback that we got from squash levels. I won't go into too much detail tonight, but it is in the club admin guide about what the conditions are around that. But if a match does meet those conditions, the players agree to make it a fair play match. That is, it's recorded, but the match doesn't count for level changes, then they can select fair play. And once we click OK, then that match is completed. And it's come down the bottom saying it's played. What it will also do is will show us when we go into the match, it's going to feed straight through into there. So we don't need to add that match in anywhere else. So once we go through and do all the matches, what people will be able to see is we'll go into individual competitions, and we're going to have the results here. So it's going to tell us where everyone finished in that draw. So if you've got a round robin, it will calculate who finished where, particularly if you've got tiebreakers, it'll work through those for you as well. As I mentioned, the one thing that's not here at the moment is the ability to download draws. This will pop up in here, and you'll be able to download your draw diagrams shortly to be able to place up around the club for your players to see. And it will update if you want to print them out each day. When it's got all the match results and everything, you'll be able to do that as well. Cool. I just did a demo of live scoring, so hopefully it's very quick.
Yep,
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 I can't demo it because it's not available
okay.
for club admins at the moment, but you will see, probably show briefly in here. So let's just find where's one of my demo ones. So it will be in Teams, I believe. So I'll create one anyway. I don't know if it's going to look like this because we have to do a little bit of work around what it looks like. But basically, we can add in a team. Same as last time, really. Is it a men's or women's team? Is it Masters? Pick the club that we're from. Team name. Enter in the number. Actually, I don't want to save that at the moment. But yeah, save that, and then you'll be able to add in your players one by one. So we'll send out information around that once it's available. But at the moment, just keep a spreadsheet of all your players. And worst case, just send them into your district to enter them for you. Cool. I'll just quickly touch on ladders and a few other things as well. Something useful as well to know, so you'll be able to see what you're logged in is at. It's going to have your level up the top right. I'll close that one down. You'll see down the bottom here, now there's some little codes, hopefully you can see them quickly, but what will show you, if you've got club admin access, it's going to give you a 4-letter code down there, which is the code for your old club, and it's the same code as what we had in the grading system. So first 2 letters will be the district, and the second 2 letters will be your club. So this one's Bay of Plenty and Mount Maunganui. What it will also have is give an indication of the subscription level. So GP stands for graded player. If you see LS, then that's a lifestyle player, and DG is digital. A junior player comes through as a GP, as a graded player. So that will indicate, especially helps when we're troubleshooting, the different why they might not be able to see something. This is a good indication. If you've got a member who's stuck or you can't see the club admin tools, then if you haven't got the 4-letter code there, you haven't got club admin access. And if someone can't enter a tournament, then they probably haven't got the right subscription type that's stopping them from doing that. So we'll do some more guidance around sort of ladders at a later date, but it is a little feature if you want to play around and sort of set one up for your club. We can add ladder. We can choose a social or a club ladder. So again, this will be something that players can just organize between themselves, or a club might want to set up a ladder. Once you've set that up, you've got options just to manually add players in to the competition. So we can just type their name in, select them, and add them to that. Or we can also, if we have a club one, it'll give you the option of adding all your club members into there as well. What you'll do then is you can send out invites. So everyone gets an email to say you've been invited to join the club league, and they can accept via that email. What you can also do is sort of manually accept them all as well. If you just say, all right, we're going to put everyone in there. They don't play, but we're going to put them in there to get it started. Once we've got everyone accepted, then we just seed it to start off with, and it puts everyone in level order from there. Then they'll all be able to go into the ladders. They're going to see a nice ladder with all their rankings and everything here, and they can start making challenges. So yeah, I just put a test match through there. I can jump in, I can raise a challenge against myself. And that sends me through an email saying I've been challenged, and I can click accept or decline on that. And once that's been accepted, it'll give me the ability to enter a result after that and then change around the ladder based on the results. Probably the last thing as well, second to last thing, manual results. So once again, this is very similar to the manual entry in the previous system. So it comes up with a search to start with. So if you just want to find results, then you can type them in. If you want to create a new batch of results, and we really want to just keep this for ad hoc, sort of one-off matches and things. All tournaments should be easily enough done in individual competitions, and it makes it a lot tidier in terms of getting the matches in order for squash levels as well. So I could just create sort of test match, choose what kind of match that we had there. And once again, we've got different options. So if it was an inter-club game that somehow you just needed to add in, you can choose team competition. But if it's a one-off tournament match, then you can choose individual competition too. And we've got different competition levels, which will be dependent on what subscription players have got. So let's just call it a club match. I've got the batch set up. I can just go in and add a match. John's going to play another John. And we can put in the scores. Save the match. And there's our one-off match gone. It does say pending at the moment, but they are going through. They will go through to squash levels at the moment. And you can keep adding extra matches if you want to after that. The other part for club admins, this is where that club transfer request is. So if you've got a player that's moved to your club, you want to get them onto your grading list, you can just come in here, search for the player, ask you for the club to select it to, and it's only going to show your clubs because you can only move players onto your grading list, and the reason for the transfer. So there's really two reasons. One is that the players are full financial member at your club now, so you want to move them to your grading list, or they might be a member of dual clubs and they want to play Super Champs for your club, so or other representative event, so you want to change them over for that. Just type in your role, so you might be club admin, and you can send that off, and that goes through to your district administrator, who will be able to action that for you. Now, so that's kind of a lot of the basics. As I said, there are still things getting built out. If there's something that's quite obvious it's not missing, we will be working on it. But if you find bugs, like you're trying to do something and it's not working how it should, then email those through to support as well, and we can take a look at it and put it in our list. Got any questions there, Fleur? And if anyone else has got any questions, to fire them through.
Does Squash New Zealand have any concerns about players using the ability to enter their own social results to manipulate gradings, etc., for Super Champs?
Like no more than was already happening around the place anyway. This should give players a way to record games, but noting that social matches are only going to be 25% weighting. So a normal competition match that might change someone 4% is only going to change them 1%. And once you start adding that up, it really doesn't make a lot of a change at all. But it does also help make sure that players are sort of playing at a level we are getting results into the system. So if it looks like someone's manipulating it, we can go back and have a record of that and see anyway. So if anything, this makes it more transparent, but also enables players to qualify a bit more under that rule without screwing up the system.
Okay. Is there a help menu? A help manual, sorry.
It's a great segue. So what we've done now, and I was going to go into the sort of that on the next slide, but what we've got is in MySquash now, you can go to the help section. And I've updated, so all the guides that have been sent out to the clubs so far, we're adding them into here as we go along. So for players, we've got an interclub guide, so that's showing them where they can view the draws, how to enter results, just a general MySquash user guide that was from last year, grading bands. And then we've sort of got club admins. So here's your tournament admin guide. So if you want to see what I've gone through today in a manual, that's the one to go to. And we've also got a whole bunch of individual tournaments. So Tyler's created a whole bunch of sort of mini ones. They're about a minute each, but sort of going into each individual part of running a tournament. So yeah, you can use the manual or you can use the videos or a combination of both. So these ones sort of, yeah, good for players if they want to know how to register for a tournament, view draws and use live scoring. Then we've got these here as well, and then just some other club admins guides. So just more info around the grading list. That has more information about this, the fair play rule, and just outside this, those clubs that are using Hello Club shell accounts and need to maintain their players. We will be doing some more webinars and stuff. As I said, there's still guides because there's still development going on. So we'll have a guide around ladders, box leagues, manual entry as well coming out, and we'll do little videos as well. So we hope they're all useful. Yeah, and we're always keen to get feedback on those too.
Okay, there's just a couple of questions, John. If there is an error in the results after the tournament, is the process still the same as it was in iSquash?
Yes, so district admins can still change this. I think club admins can actually change these as well now. So as they could in the last system, you could just update the score. You'd click on publish to grading again. So yeah, if there's something wrong, you go in as a club admin or the tournament controller and fix that.
And Fiona's asked, what happens when a graded player plays a leisure player in terms of levels?
Yep, so it all depends on what type of game they're playing. So it's the same for both players. So noting that leisure players can't play a tournament or interclub, it's either going to be a club match, which is going to be 50% weighting for both players, or it's just going to be a social match and it's 25% weighting for both players. So it's based on the match type, not who the players are. And of course, leisure players can only play those club or social matches. So there's another question about interclub game results. So people need to be, and anyone in the team can enter the results for their team that night, or a club admin can do it as well. But yeah, generally you want the captain or someone in that team to be putting them through.
Okay. So what option do you recommend for club champs or clubs?
So I guess this comes down to the club, right? And this is the old, do we play club champs for grading points or do we not? And it's generally 50-50, I think, as to what clubs do. So if you want to run it as an open tournament and have it weighted 100%, then go for that. If you just want to run it as a club competition, then you can put it through and just run it at 50%. So, yeah. Or you could just not put it through at all. Just mark them all as not played and they'll get recorded, but nothing will go through to squash levels. So there's always that option. But again, open to what clubs want to do. And it's normally down to a club by club preference. Yes, yep. So Adam, yep. So that is going to be added. So we're going to add player code and date of birth, I believe, is missing at the moment. So those will get added in. The player code is not going to help you. We're going to add in, we will add player code, but we're going to add the primary club as well. The player's club. Because going forward, of course, the player code is not necessarily going to indicate what club that player is at. It's just a way to identify them and search for them in the system. The primary club tells you what club they are from. Yep, that's coming very soon. Any other questions? So it is sort of a list of all the different little videos we've got here. So if there's any one particular part of a competition or tournament that you're running, you're not sure how to do, you can just come and pick that one up. They're all pretty short and sweet and to the point. But there's also the full manual if you want to go through it a little bit easier as well. So again, the districts will communicate with you whether you just need to email them because it's not available or it will be available. So just keep an eye out for the comms from your district as to what to do around Interclub. Again, it's a priority to build, but yeah, we've got lots of things going on at the moment, as you can imagine. So hopefully soon will be available. And different districts have got different closing dates and things. So we're just sort of trying to work around those. Can administrative switch views so they can see? No, you can't. but screenshots always help. As I said, I think if you're trying to identify issues, then it's generally down to the access that the players have. And by using this code, you can see generally what subscription level I've got, and then that will be probably the source of their problem. If it's showing digital lifestyle and they're wondering why they can't enter a tournament, then that will be why your club needs to update their subscription type that they've got in Hello Club. Club admins, so get hold of your district. If you want to add club admins to that, it is recorded in MySquash, so they can edit that for you. Running a tournament, yes, you can. So let's just go back to my example. So I've got my matches here. Let's say we've already done the draws or we've played a match. We can't edit who has played the match. So Alan doesn't seem to be in a draw at the moment. Is Alan in a draw? Oops. I thought I saw him in there. Sorry. No, so Alan's not in a draw at the moment. So we've had to add them in as a registration. So we'll register them as a player. But I can come in here. Alan's not playing at the moment. So I can pick him out because he's replaced Eddie and put the matches through and they'll go against Alan. So yeah, a lot simpler if someone pulls out or you're at that point where, yeah, your tournament's about to start and you don't want to have to try and redo draws and stuff. So hopefully that makes life a lot easier around that one for people. Cool. So I'll stop it there. If you've got any other questions you want to stay online, then feel free to do so. We will do some more webinars probably in the next couple of weeks to go through things like ladders and box leagues, just to sort of show you how to use those. Yeah, keep an eye out for club updates as well as we get the development going. And as the new things are available, I'll let everyone know so that you can just keep an eye out for those. But yeah, so if you get any questions, the best place to get hold of us is that support@squashnz.co.nz. We are getting a lot of queries coming through. Obviously, we're trying to deal with all the player subscriptions and getting clubs connected to MySquash at the moment. So there's a lot, but we'll certainly respond as quickly as we can. We've got a few of us manning the emails. So yeah, and I hope you all enjoy using the new platform. So we've tried to take what we know from iSquash and what works well and what doesn't, and a whole bunch of other systems that we've been using and testing over the past few years, and really want to make something that's simple but flexible enough as well to help you manage your tournaments a bit easier. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thanks Tyler for the tournament controller pathway. Hopefully you guys to share that with others at your club as well, even those that might be just be helping out with a few parts of your tournament. But the more people that can understand what it takes to run a tournament and we can upskill more people, then there'll be better tournaments all around the country for everyone. So thanks for that, Tyler, too. Cool. Thanks, everyone. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.
Thanks, John.